Hello, I am at Agri Expo here at the Kent County Showground. Many people say farming has not had a strong enough voice in the in-out debate on the EU. Well, that's all going to change today because I have been invited along by BTF, land and property experts, their standees behind me, to host a debate on that issue. There you can see there's a packed auditorium. We have a panel of experts, including a politician and an NFU leader.
Since 1971, so I said 72, we have been in the CAP.
The opening speeches came from UKIP MEP for the East of England, Stuart Agnew, who is a farmer and his party's agricultural spokesman and in favour of an EU exit, and Kevin Atwood, an arable farmer based in Kent who's held numerous positions in the county's NFU, but appeared in his current role as chairman of the Kent County Agricultural Show Committee and favours staying in the EU.
Well, I think particularly for agriculture, the first issue is the uncertainty. But that uncertainty, and it's the uncertainty not only of support from our government, it's uncertainty on how we're going to trade into Europe and into the rest of the world, because Europe very much has negotiated those trading arrangements with the rest of the world. We're in it, single market, no tariffs. Right across the European Union, we've got the single market. Well, we wouldn't even have access to that within a few years. So how we negotiate the uncertainty between coming out and to a known position, knowing how we're going to trade with the rest of the world and with Europe, that's the period when it won't be chaos, but it will be very uncertain.
Definitely come out because we've had the best of this. I would be the first to acknowledge that between 1972 and 1984, you could not have gone wrong with the CAP as a farmer. But things have changed steadily since then, and we have now seen our share, the farmer share of the budget, drop from over 80% to under 40%. And we've seen new countries coming in, all of which are poor, all of which put less into the CAP than they take out. When Turkey joins, that is going to really drain the pond.
Where will UK's markets be? Will Europe be available to us properly through the EEA?
Other members of the debate panel included advisors to farming, fruit growers and land and property experts.
You can't get away from the fact that 60% of farm incomes on average in the UK come from the subsidy systems. So that's one big issue. The question therefore is, to what extent, if we come out, will UK agriculture continue to be subsidised? So we've got to understand what UK agricultural policy will consist of if we come out. And then the issue is, where do we get access to our markets? Are we going to still have access to the EU markets? How are we going to stand in the world marketplace? And so on, because at the end of the day, our produce has got to be worth enough money to make farming profitable.
I think everybody needs to do a lot of homework. We have to look at where your inputs come from, we need to look at how you're trading and what you think your trading future will be, where your workforce will come from. In horticulture, we're very dependent on seasonal workers. It's very difficult to recruit someone from a local community to come in and work for a few weeks, so there needs to be an effective scheme put in place. I think everyone needs to look at the finance of this and also the broader political landscape.
What should they be looking at is really what is the alternatives to the current system. As indicated, the current system may not be perfect, but what we don't know is what the alternatives are. And I think that is an element of danger.
Land values, and that's the fundamental issue that our clients are going to have, because where there's going to be some volatility in the market and affect pricing. The agricultural sector at the moment is very volatile and everyone's concerned about cash in their pocket. Land is cash, and that's going to be a major concern. So if prices do drop because of us stepping out, then that's going to be a major concern for my clients.
The current situation is not ideal, but the presumption that an alternative situation would be significantly better than where we are now is always depends on where you're standing. And actually, if we were to leave the euro, it doesn't necessarily mean that in 10 years' time all the challenges that we face now, or a different set of challenges, actually wouldn't exist. And like I say, that's a medium to long-term strategic type of view. And it's hard to judge that when actually the intricacies of what a new CAP, a new agricultural reform environment may look like, is still so uncertain.
John Harvey, South East Farmer Magazine. Farmers and landowners often complain about red tape.
And of course the debate saw strong views coming from the large audience that packed the auditorium.
I thought the debate was excellent. It really brought the subject to life for me for the first time. I heard a lot of people saying in the media before this debate that coming out would be a disaster, and I think in many ways, the debate reinforced that, because Kevin Atwood, in particular, who writes for our magazine, he runs a great acreage of land in Kent, said that he wanted to stay in for very good reasons, because farmers would face intense uncertainty if we came out, and they would lose their subsidies, and there's no guarantee yet, as Kevin said, that this government, in a period of austerity, would replace those subsidies at all.
What do you think, and what's your views on in or out?
I just think, personally, I'm staying in Europe, I just think probably, I think there's little to be gained going out. I think a lot of Europe, I think, are strengthening their borders anyway. I think they're deciding that, enough's enough coming over from Africa already. So I think Europe's strengthening its borders. I just think the risks of going out are too great. I think it causes instability in the markets, the financial markets, and I think the change probably wouldn't be good for most people. I think so. It's safer to stay in.
I think it matters. I'm a farmer. I'm a livestock farmer. I think we, as livestock farmers, we need our vociferous French farmers who are very good at fighting the case for small farmers, whereas I feel in this country that we are such a minority of the population that we really just have no clout. And I personally am very worried about what may happen when we don't have the backing of the other farmers in the EU.
We conducted a very unscientific straw poll in the meeting, and it was very finely balanced. Now these guys have got a far more scientific way. They've got the ping pong ball. Where did we end up, guys? So we've got in, Cameron, out, Boris. Where did we end up?
So we got 57% out and 43% in.
Blimey.
Not what we were expecting.
No.
No, we were expecting a lot more on the in, particularly from farmers worried about their subsidies.
Well, I'm not quite sure whether the government will listen to you, but I think they should.